Okay, I'm going to make today I'm going to show you how to prepare a lime hardened rosin by the precipitation method. You might want to know why you want to harden rosin with lime. Rosin on its own is an acid, has an acidic nature. It's called abietic acid, and it melts at a fairly low temperature with under normal circumstances. Here's 10 grams of potassium hydroxide, which I've measured out, and I'm going to dissolve that in about 500 millilitres of water. There it goes. Do it fairly slowly because it generates heat. I've got it stood on a wire gauze, a bit of extra safety. Now you'll see that the potassium hydroxide is more or less completely dissolved in that 500 mils of water. So I'm just going to test the alkalinity of it now. This is a piece of pH testing paper, you can see that, and that comes from a pack which has a chart like that, and I think you can see that piece actually corresponds with about 5, a pH of 5. Right. I'm now going to dip it in this solution, and you'll see it's gone very dark blue, which corresponds to a pH on the colour chart of about 10. Well, it doesn't show up very well, my colours, I'm afraid, but take my word for it. That's alkalinity of 10, right. Now I'm going to add some rosin to this solution. I've got 55 grams prepared here. As you can see my little recipe there, that's the rosin, 55 grams. Right, it's going in there to avoid splashing caustic solution all over the place. Oops. Right, that is now going to dissolve in that alkaline solution of potassium hydroxide. Stir it about. Might need a little bit of heat there to make it happen, so maybe I'll just start putting a little bit of heat to it. Right, it's come up to boiling point now, and that's taken between half an hour and an hour to get there. Took it fairly slowly with stirring, and I think all the rosin is currently dissolved. I'm going to turn the heat off now and just let it cool down for my next stage. Okay. Right, about half an hour to an hour later, it's all dissolved. I'm going to add some water to that because I want to split this into two to do 2 experiments. Okay, I've put it into two vessels, not equal, but it doesn't matter at this stage. I'm going to add some calcium chloride solution. It's sort of 12 grams of calcium chloride dissolved in 200 of water. Right. So, pulling it at about half of that. Give it a stir up. You see, it's got a crummy kind of precipitate. That's actually calcium rosinate that's been formed. It was potassium rosinate, and with the addition of calcium chloride, this insoluble precipitate of calcium rosinate has formed, which is a limed rosin. And the next things you're going to do is wash it out and try and do something with it. Now I've split the amount of potassium rosinate, not quite in half. To this one I'm going to add a solution of 6 grams of iron chloride in about 200 cc's of water. We'll see what happens to that. Turn that round. This is making iron rosinate. That's precipitate that we've got there. That's the calcium rosinate, and this is iron rosinate. And what I'm going to do is filter that off and wash it, and then dissolve it either in linseed oil or turpentine, not sure which yet. It's about 10 minutes since I added the iron chloride solution to the rosinate, and you can see how it's developed a really dark chocolatey colour. Okay. Right, I'm going to take this calcium rosinate solution and, well, not solution, suspension, and tip it into this filter with a cloth that I've got in there. Okay. See how that one's going even darker now. Okay, I've poured the precipitate into a filter to filter it through cloth, and see it's in there. I would advise rinsing it through a couple of times with some tap water. Pouring in some tap water now. Just let that run through it. Do that 2 or 3 times. That will rinse any excess chemicals through that we don't need in there. Okay, next stage will be to tip that out onto a plate, and I'll do that in a minute. Right, I've tipped that precipitate out of the funnel, filter funnel, onto a plate, and I'm going to deal with about half of that I've got there now. Just makes it a bit easier. I'm going to put half of that into a beaker. Okay, now that precipitate that's on the plate now, if I was in a country that had a sun which produced heat, rather than being in England, I would set that outside under cover somewhere to dry off in the heat of the sun. But being as I am not, I have to resort to another method, which I don't think the ancient Italians would have to do, to dry this precipitate out, and I'm going to show you how that works. I've got it in a beaker, the bit I'm going to work on. I'm going to take some denatured alcohol, or methylated spirits is what we call it in England. It's got a colouring in it which will help you to see it. The colouring doesn't matter, that won't be found in the final varnish, and if it was, it's fugitive colouring anyway. Okay, and I'm going to stir that around to do in effect what they call a dry wash. I'll also wash that, and that will remove, I'll do it a couple of times and it will remove most of the water in there. Okay. Right, I'm going to pour this into another filter full through cloth. Leave that to filter through, and then I'm going to give it another wash with denatured alcohol stroke meths. Right, I've put the rosin, which has been washed with denatured alcohol, methylated spirits, put it back in its beaker. I'm going to add a little drop of refined oil to it. Right, you'll notice that the calcium rosinate precipitate that I put in there, mixed with oil, has shrunk down to about 1/4 inch depth from it was over an inch when it started out. That was the amount of water that it contained. So it's much better to do this in summer, when you can use the heat of the sun outside to dry off the precipitate. Right, have a look inside. This is got a small amount of heat on it. Right, I'm going to turn that off now.